Hi everyone, it's Life and Vibe, otherwise known as Ray. And today, today is the post day after court. Tim and I were yesterday making appearances at the court in Virginia Beach. I obviously appeared in person. Sarasota Tim appeared virtually by telephone. The judge decided to give him a call and he appeared virtually. We have now been set for a new trial date, or the first trial date, I should say, on August the 13th. So if you do want to try to follow all that's going on and you do happen to like this type of content, why not hit the likes and subscribe? I really appreciate it. And also, if you see that little hype button down below, make sure to hit that too. And if you want to support my legal fund and irritate Sarasota Tim, you can simply buy me a coffee. I started Buy Me a Coffee in honor of Sarasota Tim and his Buy Me a Coffee page. But let me just get down to the chase. So, as we know, Tim has been ordered to come to a court in Virginia Beach on August the 13th to be in front of, me and my suit that I have involving him. And if you want to check out the videos, you can do so and find out a little bit more. Well, since that day, Tim did put out a video yesterday. We had a 50-50 poll, but he put out a video and he was just like walking along the beach. Well, today he has put out a video where it seems like he's just had this like massive epiphany as to like what is happening in his life. So let's just not waste any more time. I do have obviously the Facebook receipts for the KLX. So if you want to take a look at those, stay tuned in this video because we are going to take a closer look at those. And actually, you can't really see, but the screenshot behind me is the KLX. As it appears on Facebook Marketplace. So I know that's been the buzz, so we're going to get into that as well. All right, I'm going to make me a little bit smaller. I'm going to see you can see it a little bit better. Tim is at 1.5. This is a long and rambling video, guys. Oh my goodness. Take it away, Timmy.
Man, have I got a lot of news. This is going to take multiple videos. It's going to be basically a new pivot in my YouTube channel and in my life major. I've got some breaking news and some clarity, and you can take it for however you want, but for me, it sounds awesome. How do I even begin? Well, let's first begin by making some coffee. How about that? Now let's get one little bottle going here. I got a filter of some ground.
Just want to set the precedence here that Tim's going to ramble and talk for about 7 minutes. I don't know how we're going to break through this one, guys, but we're just going to make it quick because he does say some interesting things along the way. He seems to be and just remember, even though I am a registered nurse, these videos are just for entertainment and informational purposes only. Tim does say some medical misinformation as always in this video, so we'll address that. But yeah, he is just rambling for like 7 minutes. His thoughts are all over the place. It seems to be a full-blown, potentially a narcissistic collapse, in my opinion. It's a very much, Tim is now the victim of his own narcissism. Oh my gosh. And his mistakes as everybody else's teachable moment. Seriously, he really needs to get a grip.
That I actually used 20 minutes ago when I made a single cup. I'll just add some grounds to that. Put that in there and a little bit more in there. Let's get all hopped up. Folks, there's a story that most of you are familiar with in the Bible of Joseph. And he was a wanderer for 20 years, did some things and all.
Well, Tim's off on the ascetic, ascetic type of like thing here at the moment, like where he's like sort of the spirituality all the time, that shift into spirituality. He loves having that stuff go on. Sorry, sometimes I don't pronounce things well. But he also is wrong in this religious parable he's telling. I believe it's Jacob, not Joseph. And everybody corrected him down below in his comment section. But, but Tim's going to tell you to Google it anyway, because that's what Tim does for advice.
All that, and then in the end, the story with him is he wrestled with God all night long until God gave him his blessing or his inheritance or something like that. And God finally broke his hip or something and changed his name to Israel. You can read the story. You can Google it. But the analogy is, I don't know if it's been 20 years like Joseph, but it's been a while that I have struggled with trying to create a life that wasn't really going to go in the direction that I'd hoped it to go, because I was wanting to.
Well, that's 20 years. That means Miss Tammy. The 20 years that I think Tim is trying to refer to is the time spent with Miss Tammy. And I guess he couldn't persuade her to let his, in my opinion, narcissistic and probably bullying self into her brand new condo. I'm sure maybe her children said, don't do that. The minute you let him in, you'll never get him out. And I think having shared accommodations and apartments with him, at least then when the leases are over, they can break up. Getting somebody in a home, it's a whole nother different story.
To make the plan. And I've always walked with God in my life. This is not a religious video.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, God interrupting you to say that you're not telling the truth. Tim, every time you lie, you cough. It's interesting. This is just my opinion.
But I don't hang my head when I say it, folks. I'm a believer in God, and I've been praying, attending church again, watching things on TV, and bringing my walk much closer like I used to be some time ago with the Lord. And let me tell you, when you do that, you know about the reaping and sowing and reaping and sowing and reaping, you get, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And
well, I know that you're not honest with your subscribers, Tim, because everybody knows, and people have even posted it in your comment section, that you are being sued in court by me. And people want to know why. Why? Because Sarasota Tim weaponizes the use of copyright strikes to silence his critics. And with that, not to sound super serious, when you counter and they take no actual legal action, you can't be crying out here about stuff. You've had more than ample opportunity to take me to court on this. And no, that's not what you want. You just want to destroy my channel, take me away, and silence any of your critics. That's that. And you have also struck other much larger channels, and YouTube was much more protective of their channel than they were of my smaller channel. So all of you who are now subscribing and supporting, I really appreciate it, because really Tim is somebody who gives unlicensed, unqualified advice to people on the internet and doesn't think that he should have any repercussions for anything that he does. I mean, you've just got to listen to him now.
You wrestle with a pig, you're going to both get dirty, but the pig likes it. That's a new one I read this morning. But anyway.
And I think in this analogy, he's trying to refer to me as the pig. And that's why this man is not, this is, his just narcissism on full display. He is trying to refer to somebody who's a professional, has every right to call out his medical misinformation that he tries to monetize on this platform. And we'll get to it at the end. And he's trying to say, because of what we had to confront yesterday in court, and Mr. Baker does have I'll make me bigger here so everyone can see this. Mr. Baker does have a court order to go to court. Okay, this is ordered by a judge to be in Virginia Beach on August the 13th. That's where he is to be, and the judge isn't going to let him just mess him around anymore. And he's under a very serious statute to do with his behaviors and toward my business here, of which I love making reaction and calling out the nonsense. And we're going to have some interesting guests coming up soon too. So, and thank you for all the new members too. I really appreciate it.
Anyway, forget all these sayings and things in life. And I've had a long one now, 67 years isn't a long, but it isn't short. I'm not 40. Eventually we mature. Eventually we have at least an honesty with ourselves. And for the last couple of years, I think it's been a couple of years, I've had some good times, and a lot of things absolutely worked out. The traveling across the country with the small teardrop trailer with Cowboy Tim, and going cool places and seeing things.
Who is Cowboy Tim? Other than a persona you made up and wasted a bunch of money on some costume for. I mean, seriously, you're 67, Tim, and you're talking about like, I mean, we got Tim Cup and we've got all sorts of personalities out here. It's just, it's wild. The only reason why we had fun with Cowboy Tim is I don't think we were laughing with you, Tim.
Things I haven't seen in a couple of decades or more or less, like out west and going to California and visiting. A lot of good times, meeting nice people along the way, and all of that, building a community. And a lot of you enjoyed that. But
building a community who you stole a $2,500 set of golf clubs from. So that's really nice. Could you return Johnny Vegas back his golf clubs? No, I didn't think so. All right, keep telling us how you're a good Christian. Or forgetting Bev during her cancer treatments and JJ and scrubbing the comments that wish Bev all the best. What about that, Tim? Did you know? Okay. Or bulldozing the judge yesterday because you're old and decrepit, supposedly, and can't travel? Okay.
Here comes the fight, right? Lately,
I'm going to hand it to you.
I wrestle with the, okay, what do I do in my life? As you guys know, who've been following me for a while, my life has changed from when I lived at Ted and Jolene's in a Wolf Pup camper to this camper and traveled and lived in, I got to get that. What are these things in my camper? They're bugs.
Gotcha. Flies.
Hang on. I see something. I got to get it. A little, I don't know, light bug that comes in when I open the door at night or something.
Great.
Florida bugs. So, let's get this coffee going. I'm leaving you on edge, right? I'm telling you, this is not going to be the only video. This is Sarasota Tim raw, Sarasota Tim honest. And
well, we know it's not going to be the only video, Tim. You spit out about 5 slop videos today that you just assume that your audience is going to be indiscriminately clicking on, or, you know, people who just don't appreciate your content really and more appreciate your drama. Just to hear if you got a nugget that you might spill out, because sometimes you do let things slide.
Sarasota Tim back at his roots. This is who I am. This is my clarity that I think that I have now. And I know I have clarity. Coffee time. Look at that color. Get in here. Look at that. See, when you make your own coffee, you don't have to worry about whether they get it right or not. Although McDonald's definitely gets it right most of the time. Look, I always have a nice little studio for you guys here. Who's calling? Oh my gosh. Listen, folks, here's the deal. That needs to be heated up. Not with that deal, because it mixed with this other coffee. Let's see here. How about 30 seconds? Start. Now, I've been praying to God that I can get back on track. You guys might remember I bought a Honda Accord. How long has that been now? A year and a half ago, a year ago, whatever it was. I spent a lot.
Tim, 6 minutes in and we still haven't, you know, well, I know you're all over the shop. You're going to have to reinvent your content. You feel like you're, you know, getting interrupted. I heard too that the Moose Lodge, that they might have to vote you as a member. Better not find out you're getting sued for almost 30 grand, hey?
Money for that car. Figured I would save gas from driving my truck every day. And it was a beautiful car. No question about it. Let's see here how this tastes. Nice and hot now. Folks, that's the best cup of coffee I've ever drank in my life. And that's good coffee. McCaffey, baby. Nothing better. That is the best. I bought the Honda Accord and then sold it, 2 or 3 months later with hardly any miles on it. And went across the state with it a couple of times. Did a couple things. Lost money on it, obviously, but was satisfied with what I got. Was never expecting to make a dime on it because I bought it new. So that was going to be, a given.
That is not, I don't know, Tim. You are off about the gas mileage. And I know Z-Car made a video about this. Just, you hope probably, I don't know, turn it into content. I don't know how the car, I mean, your logic on all of it just seems to be out of whack, at least in my thoughts, as somebody has to manage my finances alone as an adult. And I just feel that your audience are also probably older and fairly responsible adults on the whole. So I'm just kind of figuring out who are these individuals who are, you know, feeling aligned with your financial decisions.
But I needed it probably like a hole in the head. I had all this money tied up into a car that I could have bought gas with my truck and not worry about depreciating. I didn't make any money on the car, so whatever I saved in gas, which wasn't much, I lost when I sold it. So that was dumb. That was a learning lesson. Learn from these, what I'm getting ready to tell you. And then we go on down the road and, nothing's really going.
The only thing we learned, Tim, is that you're not very good with money management. That's what we learn. You're not teaching anything to anybody that we don't already know. Your audience, you see your audience's age? This is a lesson in how somebody got some money from this platform and just frittered it away, blew it away. But he's also very cheap with other things. So it's interesting to see where Tim is cheap and where Tim just blows his money without even thought. Sorry, that was, it made me sound like I had a
good in my situation about where I'm going to live. I'm going to stay here, go do something else, make a collaboration with someone, do whatever.
It
was a big
prop for that
hassle in a wrestling match. And so I simply, did the same thing I did with the.
My goodness, Tim. I'm going to have to say, I apologize. That was a strange sound I made. I do have a lisp. Okay, Tim.
2 hours later.
He's just going on, isn't he? Lord of my life, Tim. Get it out.
A Honda. It went bye-bye. And then you go on down the road, and I'm by myself here, and I'm going through some different emotions and stuff, and curious as to where I'm going in life and the life that I had, and now everything is all disrupted. That was a major right there.
What, did it get disrupted when Miss Tammy left you? And you didn't get to move into her condo like you hoped to do? Because that could I think it's the best thing that Miss Tammy has ever done for herself. In my opinion, woman to woman, I would not let somebody like Sarasota Tim into my home. I have a feeling that he is an absolute bully and a takeover and takes over everything. I think that Miss Tammy's quiet demeanor is probably kind of a learnt mechanism to deal with this person and his narcissism over the years. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think this is the bully in the relationship.
And I'm going to go on the carnivore diet. I wanted to get into health, and then I started going to the gym more routinely and regularly. I was running and doing exercises, and that was good.
Okay, all right. The exercise, good. Walking, good. Running, having been a competitive distance runner most of my life, and somebody who does not want to run with my knees that are feeling like, hey, maybe that's not a good plan. I don't know about it as we get older, how beneficial it is. I don't know. I think there's other types of lower impact type of cardio activities like swimming or other types that are beneficial, and definitely lifting weights. The carnivore, definitely do not think that's a fad diet. That's just not something that I would recommend at all. And Tim knows that. He just likes to double down when he's got his little narcissistic injury going on, because he got slapped down by the judge yesterday. Judge didn't want to pay any attention to Tim's sob stories. Oh my gosh, he had the sobbiest stories, Now he's got to actually face reality and the reality for his actions on this platform, of which there are many.
Then some more things started happening in my life, of confusion, of wrestling with God, and trying to put a square peg in a round hole. What I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this adventure and start traveling all over the country with this camper. And so then I bought a Honda Goldwing motorcycle that sat out here. I went to the Keys with it once and over to Ted and Jolene's and rode around town a little bit, got it all fixed up, bought luggage, bought all kinds of things with big, big plans to travel the U.S., go all over the place for cheap, sleep in a tent. Repeating what I've already done a couple of times with a couple of different motorcycles in my life. Searching for that, I don't know, comfort of escaping what I'm going through my mind of something that wasn't feeling good, trying to replace and feel better about my life, myself, and losing what I had or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say.
He doesn't like the fact that he's been ordered to come to court, and it's a big boy matter now. Because he wanted to play big boy on the platform.
People do it with drugs, alcohol, sex, everything. People.
What are you talking about? Do you know who your audience is? My goodness. Okay, keep going, Tim.
People try to put a Band-Aid over what's really all they need. And you know all you really need is a relationship with God and surrendering your life to letting him answer your heart's desires of what he thinks is best for you. No matter what it may be, doing all those things that I mentioned
I'm not rolling my eyes about religion. I'm rolling my eyes of Tim using religion as his shield for his victim shield at all times. Every time that Tim has to get a little slappy on the wrist, he gets to find his little, pivot back to Christ again.
I bought to do, but apparently it wasn't. So I sold the Honda Goldwing, and before I even sold it, I bought another motorcycle because I got this grandiose idea that I can put it on this motorcycle carrier that I got and tow that with the camper. And man, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to see this country. I'm going to go out to the desert. I'm going to ride those hills and all the stuff I did when I was much younger with my sandrail. I'm going to relive. I'm going to go back in life. I don't have to worry about what I got going on right now. I can go back and live in that in my mind. And I was convinced that is exactly what I would like to see come to fruition. I wasn't aware, like Joseph, that I've been chasing my tail. And so,
I think you just had fun spending the money, Tim, and you probably tried to use it as a write-off for your channel. And I don't know what you do with your taxes now that you're kind of at the age of 67. But part of the year, you were not 67. So most of your taxes of 2025, you were not at full retirement age. So you need to I guess I would love, he doesn't ever talk about what he does with his taxes running this YouTube channel. Loves to tell people about how he gets this side hustle, his YouTube money, is zero transparency about his earnings. Zero, and I don't have to, okay, with me. That's not what my channel's about. So if anybody wants to get all trolly about it, the little group of guys who get themselves all out of whack, I don't have to do that. That's not what my channel's about. I'm a commentary channel, okay? Not trying to tell people that type of information. I make criticism on unqualified, unlicensed Dunning-Krugers like Tim.
I spent a lot of money on a motorcycle carrier, a trailer hitch for the front of the truck, and now a very expensive ramp to put the bike up in the back. And I've come to the conclusion through clarity and answered prayer that I've been in deep prayer about. One of the reasons why I haven't made as many videos as I normally do is because of this transition in my life. It was coming to a crescendo,
What are you talking about? There's been days, Tim, when you spat out like 5 or 6 videos a day. The only reason why you only made one yesterday is probably because you were so blown away that all of the excuses that Grok and Chat GPT and anything else, OpenAI, whatever you went to tell you about how to manage a court failed yesterday. I guess Jesus failed you too in your mind.
Climax, a boiling point of where something had to give, something had to break. And I know you're going to laugh, but I'll say it again. I do use AI to bounce ideas off. Not just like, hey, how many bricks does it take underneath my ramp to make it less than 31 degrees to get my camp? I wore him out, Google Gemini and Grok on that. Even some of my subscribers. And we've gone around and everything. And for whatever reason, it's becoming more anxiety and stress than it is enjoyment. And, worrying about dropping a 320-pound motorcycle on myself or on my truck or on the ground or breaking my back or something happening when it's, loaded and falling over in the truck, not tying it down.
Oh, you mean having that video of you trying to put a motorcycle up and down a ramp and then trying to tell a judge yesterday that you're frail, you're unable to travel in your RV, you're poor, you're on Social Security, you've got dodgy eyes and hard of hearing. None of that's true. Come on, Tim, because you like to tell your audience otherwise. So how you describe yourself to the judge and how you love to glaze yourself to your audience, absolutely 2 different things. Hilarious. God, 13 minutes in. Jesus.
Right. Getting
my audience away.
Out riding on the hills and stuff, riding it around here on the city streets, occasionally with no helmet, and even with a helmet, short pants and stuff. And all these people are texting and and driving and things. Towing my camper, and don't get the wrong idea here, across the United States when it is my main home, my sanctuary that I want to preserve. And there is a very, very real reality that towing these over potholes and railroad tracks like our highway system basically is.
Oh, wow.
With it bouncing and, what do they call them? Not suspension bridges, but expansion bridges and potholes and where the truckers leave, back there just bouncing over thousands of miles and then come home and this is your home, not something you park next to your house and use it for weekends. And water leaks and things are falling out, and all these things over time. And it will happen. It can happen. This is not, it's meant to roll and hopefully smoothly. So I did it a couple of times and I've done that already. And then there I go again thinking about, I need to repeat that. I'm going to be this adventure traveler. And I'm saying, it's not about the money and the 9 miles per gallon. I mean, that is obviously an equation.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all about the money, Tim. And it's all about the 9 miles per gallon. And it's all about whether or not you feel like after putting out one video about a topic, it's hitting it viral. And I think that expectation needs to be tempered.
You've got to have the money to do that. And you still got to maintain your home base and your regular expenses and go off and, come back 2 weeks, a month and a half later, whatever you want to do. And that much money is gone, never to come back. And you got a memory. And I thought, I'll make this YouTube content and all that. And basically, let's get to...
No, Tim, but you also had to buy like every item around it. I've never seen a shoppier dude than you. You bought so much outfits and bags and camping and this and that. I mean, it was just more than I would think any other normal person when they're just trying to kick this off on their channel would spend money on. So it all seemed, and then you're all selling it on Facebook Marketplace at a loss most of the time. I'd love to see your taxes for 2025.
The Kawasaki here. I buy that before I sell the Goldwing. And as mentioned a minute ago, I buy the ramp and the trailer hitch and all that. I spend a lot of money wrestling with God. It was costly, a learning experience.
God has nothing to do with your decisions, Tim. That's just all you, okay? That's you. I don't think trying to always include religion into your shopping habits is ethical to religion.
And then I just found out, it's too much stress. I'm too anxious about it. It's nothing that I'm enjoying. And for whatever reason,
I don't think
and I believe God's got this going on, this tool, this ramp, I'm at the top end of height of my truck of what that ramp is able to do.
Let's just kill the story here for a second. Because you know what Tim decides to do? Because this is getting so long. And we'll finish the react off, guys. And I don't care if you abandon this one halfway through. But, this is the infamous KLX. Okay, let me add this. This is now what's happened to the KLX. KLX is for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Whether he's taking it down because everybody knows, who knows? He goes back and forth. I guess he's wrestling with God. His 2026 Kawasaki KLX 300, he wants $6,900, which I believe was more than he paid. But, he's put a lot into it. Door pickup. Used like new condition. 2026 Kawasaki KLX 300, 580 miles, heavily upgraded. Yeah, we know. That's all you've been doing, Tim. You haven't been actually riding that thing. You've just had the best time ever buying stuff for it. I think that's where you get your high, more than riding it. I guess that eyesight and that hearing is as bad as you told the judge, hey? Maybe you had that epiphany, hey? Okay, it's still under factory warranty. I thought you had some issues about that one. Upgrades include Pro Tapper hand. There's all these just Tusk hand guards, seat concepts, comfort seat, 329, a lithium battery, 220. I mean, just all this stuff. I mean, just wow. And then he's got an IMS wide foot pegs for 150. This is all the money he's spent additionally. But he doesn't want to pay for parking, and he'll complain about somebody wanting a diet soda at a restaurant. Especially if he thinks he's got to foot the bill. God, could you imagine how irritating he'd be to go out with? A Nelson rig tank bag and trunk bag, tail rack, breakaway mirrors. He's got a phone USB charger. Yeah, because he's just got to keep filming that content that nobody wants to watch. Also included just all these different tires and stock parts and wheel and just never open tire irons. Because he was going to go out and do all this travel alone and not think that he'd get trapped and killed under the bike. Just something that just, if any medical emergency, anything were to happen, just living in a fantasy, just narcissistic collapse at this point. This bike is completely stock mechanically. NC loud exhaust, no power mods. I put the money into things you can actually see and use every time you ride. Better handlebars, comfortable seat, wide foot pegs, luggage, and breakaway mirrors. It's quiet and still gets 65 miles per gallon. Serious buyers only, 6,900. Bradenton. And he did that and didn't, you know, he needs to pay off, obviously, his care credit too that he owes. So, yep, the infamous KLX is gone or is going. He might have taken it down. Who knows? All right, let's get back to your reacts, Tim. Take it away. Let's make it quick.
And without having one before and not having a lighter dirt bike, which is a considerable difference than what I have, even though it's a dual sport dirt bike, it just seems like buying wood and looking for a curb and a hill. It's just, I can't just run it up there. It's not a glove fit. Like, yes, this is what God's blessing me with. This is exactly what to do. The trailer, the motorcycle carrier I bought, remember, it was too high. I couldn't see out of the windshield. My headlights weren't going to work. Everything has been a fail to achieve what.
Everyone's been waiting to see if you can get the bike through the back window of your truck, because that's so, and then you had to have your neighbors help. Those poor neighbors. Oh my goodness, Tim, for all this shenanigan.
I want to do what I said I'm going to do. Me.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason,
that's right.
Changing my
me. He's not joking there, guys. It is all about Tim. He doesn't even care about the quality of his content. Not really. He says that just to string his audience along. But he's said to other people behind the scenes, and I have it on good authority, that he just says that he doesn't really care. He just spits it all out because he knows his audience are absolute chumps that will just watch anything he puts out. And I obviously am a chump that criticizes him, but this chump isn't being a chump anymore. As much as, you know, the misogyny army wants to get all their backs up.
Life of age and relationship and things like
Whatever,
that.
Guys, have
and being a little bit more humbled and looking to replace those feelings with something to be enthusiastic about. I finally hit my knees and prayed about it. And then I, started attending church again. I started watching things on TV that were God related, that it seemed like God just put in front of my eyes. Now that I asked God to actually help me and I surrendered, God says, that's all I've been waiting for. He doesn't grab you by your shirt and shake you. He can cause things to break you, but we always have a choice. And just like Joseph, after 20 years, and then finally that night, wrestled with God all night.
Couldn't even get that right.
Things changed for him. And so things are changing for me in my life and in my desires, and being a little bit more mature and, wanting my money to last me as long as it can, and concerned about my safety and my health. And really,
oh my gosh, put it in the comments below how long you think any of this is going to last.
Really is important. I want to be more of a traveler to a destination where I can live for a while than to be this adventure tourist that's got to go out and run all around. I've done that. I think now that if I want to leave here and go to Georgia near my daughter, if I want to go to New York with Ted and Jolene, which I've been invited, or a number of other places, Texas, and different places where subscribers have invited me to come with my camper or without. Lake cabins, lake homes. These are short stays. I wouldn't want to go there and stay a month or something. I think they use them for an Airbnb, but nonetheless.
Use them.
And
I might use them for an Airbnb. I think that's really the highlight. I know it may be a while before people get to that part of this react. I need to clip that minute. What minute was that? 18:59. I might use them because that's what Tim does. He uses people. Absolutely. What will he do in return? Give him a shout out on his famous YouTuber channel? Okay, Tim. You steal somebody's golf clubs again? I wouldn't trust him anywhere near my home. Anybody who's had experience with this individual is saying publicly now that he is not somebody that you want in your home. He will film in your home. He will dox your property. He will use you. He won't drop a penny. He probably won't even offer you dinner. If you're okay and on board with that, have at it. I wouldn't.
Yes, I've had the subscribers offer and invite me, and I've accepted, and it was amazing. So I have decided that I just want to let God show me, and I'll just follow.
Is it like that dude Justin who got you up to that hotel casino? and then like disappeared on you and was it Timmy Apple Bottom? All right, Tim, are those guys? There's some people, whatever, Tim.
He already knows the desires of my heart. He knows the desires of your heart. And, being back in church and being local and, going to the beach and doing my morning chats and evening chats and having coffee and showing you guys the area. It was some travel involved, about retirement and minimalist living is really truly what I'm happy with the most. It's just too much stress to think about doing all this other stuff. Now, grabbing the camper, I'm not so old that I can't take the camper if I've got a place I want to go. It's A to B. Not like I have no idea where I'm going to go. I'm just going to travel blindly. And, I've done all that. And it's really depreciating and tearing up what I've got. Let's get back to the Kawasaki.
Sorry, I was waving at my dog. Go back to the Kawasaki. That thing's been listed on Facebook, Tim. Why don't you just cut to the chase? Why don't you just tell your audience, look, it's for sale. Hit me up if you want it. I mean, half the time you use this as a QVC anyway.
Kawasaki is for sale.
Oh, there you go.
Kawasaki will go bye-bye.
Well, yeah.
I lost money on everything I bought. I lost money on the trailer hitch.
I already showed the listing. Everybody else has, Tim. We all know it's for sale, Tim.
Cargo carrier that wasn't expensive, but maybe I could use it for something. And I've got this e-bike, and I've had several e-bikes. And I'm thinking, you know what?
I think it's really hard for you to be begging people to use your Amazon links and then be just wasting money on the shenanigans you just did. And I don't think it made back on the videos, the money, to be honest. Looking at those prices, I feel like he just decided to blow up some credit card spending. And now he'll get some cash in his pocket. Well, you still owe on those credit cards, Tim.
The ramp I could keep because the e-bike goes up that with no problem. And you got to have something to get in the back of that truck. You can't put anything in the back of that truck without some kind of ladder. So why not keep the ramp that was expensive, the e-bike, and I can ride it to the gym and do different things around here and make videos or just explore and see things in shopping centers and ride on the sidewalk. I don't have to worry about getting run over by a car or a truck.
Ride on the sidewalk? I don't know if that's allowed. Shoot, Tim, you hope that the pedestrians will move out the way. You're so rude. Gosh.
Or I can put it in the back of my truck. And when I do travel with a camper, then I'll go right back there and have that to use when I get to wherever I go to tool around. I mean, this is a dual battery, goes over 100 miles on a single charge. It's going to go as far as I'm going to want to go in any one day. And I can load it up and take it to the beach if I want to ride it to the beach, unload it a mile from the beach.
We haven't seen Tim go anywhere since Christmas. I don't even, supposedly Ted and Jolene just love having him over there.
I don't even have to deal with the traffic anymore if it goes over to the beach. I can park my truck at a Publix grocery store parking lot, shopping center, unload it and go right down the bike lane while everybody's sitting there in traffic and go straight to the beach and just enjoy myself. Yeah. I have a little breeze going on me. I'm on the bike lane. I'm on sidewalks. And it's actually a fun little thing to do. I've sold everyone that I've gotten. And I'll probably sell this one because you can't believe a damn thing I say. And that's just one of my sayings. But I'm thinking that.
Well, that's one heck of a saying, Tim. Don't know if that's the best thing to say. I don't know. You going to tell the judge that in the court? Well, I think he knew that one. I think he figured it out pretty quick yesterday too, Tim. I think the judge knows you're saying.
Sell the Kawasaki, lose more money. The trailer hitch is there permanently on my truck now. So if I ever needed to back my camper in, push it around, with the front, which I've never had to do yet and probably never will.
Come on, finish up.
I do have that ability. I do have the ability to put that carrier in the front if I want to put totes and coolers and things like that. I don't think I put the e-bike on there because without a motorcycle, the e-bike goes in the back of the truck. But I could carry bulkier things if I wanted to travel with this and take lots of stuff on that little cargo carrier, with waterproof totes and things and just strap them down real good.
Yeah, okay.
Propane tanks, things like that.
Okay.
And so it's very exciting.
He is trying to figure out how you're going to fudge his way on this one with the audience. Some of his audience, we'll have to do a day of comments because this video is getting long.
For me. And AI was telling me, why don't you do this? Why don't you, before you make a decision on selling the Kawasaki, why don't you just park it, don't look at it, don't ride it, don't think about it for a week and see if you miss it, or if that would be something that you would be regretful if you sold it. Heck, it's already sat out there for days and weeks without wanting to pull it out and use it. And as it gets hotter here, and this whole thing about...
so the only thing we ever get to see with the Kawasaki is you trying to attempt to take your leg out, pushing it up and down the ramp and waking up your poor neighbors while they're on a night shift. to come and watch you and your shenanigans? That's your narcissism is just out of control, Tim. And you still can't be honest with your audience that you have a court date because you acted like a hole on this platform. And you take criticism, and especially from a woman and a professional who knows that your medical chat is nonsense. And I have told you to please stop it, and you still don't stop.
And just putting it on there and taking it somewhere local. I mean, I can ride it on the street, but it's 40, 50 miles an hour is as fast as you want to go on that thing. You get it going any faster, you're just on a little skinny motorcycle with no windshield or nothing. It's really blowing on your chest. Rocks and things from cars you get behind can hit you in the forehead and put your eye out. You know, I got goggles on. But, you know, it's a knobby tire thing. It's not.
No, this is part of the narcissistic injury, the narcissistic collapse. He's an absolute victim. Now the bike is something that's going to cause him harm. And now the best decision is to not have the bike. Don't buy this BS from these types of characters, okay? Just absolute shenanigans, trying to justify wasting, you know, thousands of dollars that he really doesn't have to spend. But in his mind, he does because he's Tim and he's a narcissist. And all the talk about taking grandkids on vacations and stuff, absolute BS-ery. This guy is one of the most narcissistic. Oh, it just was so apparent yesterday too. Loved it.
A really smooth cruiser. So using it in the application is like, well, just keep it. You know, I really don't need the money that bad. I'm not broke or I got to sell it to pay something. So keep it. Pull it out every now and then. Go to the beach with it. Go to the store. Ride it to the gym.
That's right. Because Tim doesn't have a $30,000 lawsuit and the need to probably hire an attorney coming up. Unless he's just an expert on writing his own grounds of defense, which I doubt. And I don't think I would trust the AI, Tim. I'm just saying, you're going to be in a real issue. Those things are wrong 75% of the time.
For what? I still have the dangers of riding on the street that one time that someone runs a stop sign or a red light or fails to see that bright green.
I heard that Cowpote and the boys are wanting to start Tim. Oh, that's a great. I should have had that for my screen, my thumbnail. I didn't know that shot was coming. Are setting up a fund for Tim to be able to afford an attorney. So if you want to not support them and support me taking maybe an attorney into court and having my representation, let me know through Buy Me a Coffee. You know what? I think somebody has something to say about that.
No. I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have this dry begging. Well, I mean, you know what that is.
Yeah, and if they're going to dry beg for Tim, I'm going to dry beg for me. Why not?
Machine with an LED headlight. People will still say they didn't see you. And stay in my armored car, my cement truck, which is, I feel sorry for whoever hits me. I ain't worried about it too bad. And just drive that. I mean, it's all relative anyway. Until I travel and pull this camper, whether it gets 6 miles per gallon or 10 miles per gallon, I just run around town here. And I've got my e-bike that I can run around with now too. So that's my video this morning is kind of, I'm changing my life. I don't want the anxiety and the stress. Oh, I was going to say this. For some reason, God made the ramp I got, even though it's a perfect tool for half-ton trucks.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if this is the pattern that anybody who ever had a relationship with Tim had to bear? Nobody had 3 wives. This was the epiphany that we heard when he bought the Goldwing and when he sold the Honda and when he bought the KLX. It's always an epiphany. God came and spoke to him. I don't think God's telling you to buy shite, Tim.
Trucks with a lower tailgate for dirt bikes, yes. And
or
guys that can run it right up there.
How come God's never told you to do any act of compassion? And that pay it forward, that's just another tax write-off for you, sir. Because you never gave a tip to any of the actual employees at that McDonald's. And my theory is because you can't write tips off in your taxes. You are the most selfish person I think I've ever heard in my life. And you want to try to call me off. You were trying to say, like, you really were trying to hopefully hijack my court case with your shenanigans yesterday. Thankfully, the judge put that to an end.
Lower truck. buying wood and sticking underneath it and looking for a hill or a curb, which is like, well, then, okay, I load it, but how do I go back and get my bike? After I unload it at a curb or a hill, how do I go back and get my truck when I ride the bike away, or vice versa? I mean, you end up separating the two. If it's not right where I want to be every time I need to load it or unload it, that's dumb. So I had to carry a curb with me. That meant buying these wood blocks and doing all this. And one time of it being unstable and coming loose, or that strap, even though I've got it tight, stretch enough to where it comes off the lip, comes off my tailgate, and drops from 36.
If you only knew the things that I know about Tim behind the scenes, you would know that he's really not a nice person. So I'm curious to see what happens in August. I'm curious to read his grounds of defense. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to this, guys, because Tim, like I said, I have not been the only person who's been affected by his behaviors. I'm just the one who's taking him to court for it. He has struck so many channels with false copyright strikes. It is out of control. And since that time, since I started sending demands and warrants finally, because it didn't work with the actual professionally drafted cease and desist, he decided that he could just ignore everything. And there is a consequence to actions over time. And for this individual to be here stating at 67 years old, he suddenly found his adulthood is absolutely hilarious, because he has not.
7 inches with 300-pound motorcycle down on my foot, my body, something. Maybe I'm at the trailhead and nobody else is around and this thing happens. You know, I'm not trying to justify. I'm having clarity of the reality of why not be safe, why not be healthy and happy, you know, do carnivore, walk, run, go to the beach, work on the tan.
Okay, the tan, out of control. Okay, your skin looks like leather. I would never, the people that you pointed out working out those tans on the beach, horrific cases of probably squamous cell carcinomas, actinic keratoses, and I can't even say what other types of skin cancers going on. Well, basal cell carcinoma, that's not really going to come from the sun. And melanoma is not triggered by the sun necessarily either. That's not triggered by the sun. Just terrible advice, Tim. Your skin, you don't wear sunscreen a lot of the times. If that's, and then the carnivore, you say that really to bait me. And that's, again, I think that it would be important to probably, you know, Zcar is somebody who works in public health, and we're going to get together to do a stream, hopefully. Maybe we'll address this since it's sun season coming up.
Enjoy good food, cook my coffee. And if it gets to be too brutal here in the summer, hook it up. Figure out where I can go. Like one of these state parks where I get my deal with the America the Beautiful card, like I did last year. Go to Tennessee or Georgia for a month or so.
Once.
And stay there. It's a short drive, not all the way across the United States. That's another thing. The dirt bike, if I lived in Arizona or whatever, I probably wouldn't think about selling it, because I could drive it from my house to a trailhead, because it's everywhere out there. That's the area. But the area I want to go to is completely.
This is just an absolute picture perfect example of a narcissist injury and collapse. He's now had to sell the KLX, and he is framing it as being something that he's a victim of the bike now. So classic. Just, you know, obviously this is a information education purposes. I was training in psychiatric nurse practitioner, have experience in psychiatric health. So that's one of the reasons why I have a little bit more confidence just talking about these topics for entertainment and education.
On the other side of the United States. So to drive thousands of miles, spend all that money in gas and time and camping to ride a trail in the desert with a dirt bike, I think it's kind of stupid now. You know, I mean, if you've never done it, that's one thing, but I've done it. And so I'm tired of chasing my tail. I'm tired of trying to put a square peg in a round hole. I'm tired of trying to create new ideas for my YouTube channel. I'm just going to go back to what I do, talking, and whatever God opens the doors for me to do. I'm not saying I'm going to sit here all day and drink Geritol. I'm going to pull this camper, but I don't want to have to deal with the motorcycle deals anymore. I don't want to deal with other cars sitting here. I don't want to leave it here, and while I'm gone, a hurricane comes and I've got things here. I want to be more of a minimalist. I've got my home. I've got my vehicle that pulls it, and they're all paid.
Right, when we go live, I'm going to check the moon cycle for this one, because he is on a roll, guy. Well, we know he got ordered yesterday to go to court. It's serious, and there is a, you know, Tim trying to get every excuse. The judge pointed out, make sure you send everything certified, because he could tell this man has excuses to try not to do anything. That's Tim's game.
And that's all I want. And all these things, these big purchases, and then losing money, and then the accessories for them has been a very costly learning experience. And so I'm going to make more videos sharing that that you can learn from me. And if you haven't done any of that yet, I promote it. You know, if you've got boxes you haven't checked off on your bucket list yet, crush it. But to try to replace something that's really going on in your life with something else that is a waste of time and money. And I hope that through my new membership at Moose Lodge, through my new attendance at church, and I might even go online and try to make the acquaintance of a nice young lady, or I might meet somebody at the beach. And
young lady? No, Tim. That's just nasty.
Grow my friendship and my social life to having a little closer to that. Like these people do here. They come down from the north and they're always getting together, and whether they're having cocktails or whatever they're doing, and they're enjoying a fellowship. Now, I'm not a drinker, but, you know, that doesn't mean you can't fellowship. Just like when somebody was saying in comments about, oh, you better check out the Moose, you know.
I don't know. You might have been trying not to appear as inebriated on camera recently, Tim, but there was the time recently when you were rolling around laughing and telling people to choke on the McDonald's you had just paid forward to them, that you didn't seem quite so sober, in my opinion. And I think people think that you're word on the street is, and we've seen you on the street with a cocktail in your hand last year in Key West, Tim.
It doesn't line up with Christianity. Like, you go to Chili's and have a salad and they're drinking alcohol in there. Well, you're not supposed to go to Chili's? I don't drink. And it's great people in there. And that location right on the beach is awesome. And you get the free parking. So I love it. And I've chatted up people every time I've been in there now. It's been a great experience every time. And I haven't actually been on the, sand yet, which is what I want to do now. When I take my truck, I can take my chair and all that. Like yesterday, I met this guy when I was having my lunch, and then I walked down the beach and made that video. There he was with his friends sitting in chairs working on their tan. So they just come in and out of there. And it's like, this is what I want to do. And this is free. You know, and it's right here. I live right here with all this stuff that people are spending thousands of dollars to have another residence here, or they get an Airbnb and they come here to sit on that beach, and it's available for me. And I'm going to run off and go to a desert, which is beautiful too. Don't get me wrong. In fact, I absolutely would love to see Utah again and all that, and maybe just drive my truck and do some camping, make it a short trip, you know. And things are also,
oh, for goodness sake, Tim, your traveling is horrible. You are so like laser focused on just getting to a destination. We never get to see anything in between. There was no interesting stops. There are so many fascinating places along the way from where you were in Florida out west. But you're always in a hurry because you had to get to your, free hotel room or something. You are so determined not to spend a dime of your own money ever that you didn't even care if anybody got to see anything but a Buc-ee's or a Love's truck stop. It was so boring. Absolutely the most tedious stuff. And when you did do things, it was you playing golf on some of the driest looking courses I've ever seen in my life.
turning around. I'm going to make another video about that
Terrible
politically with the unrest in our country. I think God's working in that too, and is definitely guiding our president. And I'm very, very proud of our country and what looks like hopefully
really, Tim?
will happen.
Well,
another
whatever.
Miracle. So anyway, folks, hope you have a good morning. I'll probably make another video like right after this one. I'm going to start wearing you out. We'll do our evening chats. And
yeah, because he needs to get his slop out for you guys to watch. All right, I'm going to end him there. I don't care what he says anymore. All right, guys. God, that was almost an hour of Tim's boredom. Oh, I apologize. All right, guys. Oh, Lord. If you did get this far, though, oh, my goodness. Make sure to hit the likes. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the hype. Leave me a little motorbike in the end. I need to get another sound. Like somebody suggested maybe a flushing toilet, and we could just flush the KLX and the money away. Oh, my goodness. Well, let's give Tim at least a round of applause for having come to the adult decision to finally get rid of that motorbike. Is it to pay for legal fees? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below, too. I don't know. We'll see. Supposedly it's the best bike ever. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. This went on forever. Bye.
Life and Vibe, thanks so much. My queen, my Sarasota Tim expert.